What up, though? This is Knockouts in 3 Counts. But before we bring you another episode of Podcast Gold, let me tell you about the homies over at Michigan's Finest. Do you ever find yourself trying to get yourself together and thinking, man, this is going to be a great night, but I'm looking for that little extra something? Well, check out our friends at Michigan Finest. If you are into medical marijuana, recreational marijuana, concentrates, vapes, anything of that sort, Michigan's Finest has got you covered. And as you can see here, it's all easily done by their website. It's all curbside, and you'll be in and out in 2 minutes. And they're family owned and operated, so customer service is their number one goal. And now, since they are rocking with Knockouts in 3 Counts, use the code KO3MF. Yes, that's KO3MF. You get 10% off your entire order, but that does exclude featured items and items that are already on sale. But if you use that code, you're getting 10% off your items, and I promise you, either if you're looking for that big knockout or you're ready to hit the sheets for that 3 count, Michigan's Finest will get you together. Tell them Knockouts in 3 Counts sent you, and I promise you, you're going to be having a great night. Peace.
This is the Ring of Honor, a.k.a. Shane T, boy, the baddest champion you ever seen, boy.
This is Mr. Anderson.
This is good old JR Jim Ross, and you are listening.
You're listening to Knockouts in 3 Counts.
Cover! We got a new world champion!
That might be one of the craziest knockouts I've ever seen in my life.
Knockouts in 3 Counts is the podcast, baby! It's the real deal, baby!
Knockouts in 3 Counts starts now.
What up, though? It is another Tuesday, and if you are betting your money right, you would be sitting on some money because our guy Josh Fremd just picked up his first W inside the UFC. First of all, congratulations, sir, and welcome back to the show.
Hey, appreciate that, man. Awesome coming back, talking it up with you boys.
Hey,
Always
man.
a pleasure.
Like he said, it's always a pleasure. We've been rocking with you from the LFA days, and to be seeing you getting the dub here in the UFC. We've got plenty to talk about. For those of you who are new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like button, share button, all the buttons. But before we get to talking about hitting buttons, I would be remiss if I didn't bring up many of you guys who have been following this show for a long time or are following the Michigan wrestling scene, or GCW for that matter. You know a guy named Mike, better known as Piss Jug, because he had that green tea bottle that looked like a piss jug in the front row at all those shows. Well, if any of you guys have been following around, Mike got sick and apparently lost a battle with cancer that went down pretty quick. So I want to dedicate this show to Piss Jug Mike. And I know that there is a T-shirt that's going around that all the proceeds are going to his family to help out with that. I will post the links to that on our social medias when you do that. That's why you need to make sure you're following us at KO3C Pod and all those good things. But I just wanted to give a shout out to Piss Jug Mike. J-Bone, do you got anything to say before we get into it?
Man, just as far as Mike, man, just a hell of a dude, man. Like, always had the most energy, enjoyed himself at these shows. Man, it's not going to be the same, man. But we're just blessed to cross paths with the guy. You know what I mean? As much as it matters in the ring, it matters outside the ring too. The fans matter, and I think he proved that. And he was a light that it ain't going to be dim, dude. That's for sure. That dude's memory will live on forever. That's absolute truth.
Yeah, even as somebody like myself who didn't have much of a relationship or anything with the guy, I only shook hands with him once or twice. He definitely added some character to all those shows that I would attend with you guys. You could just tell the energy would be brought to another level when he was in attendance. So I'm sure he will be missed, and to all his family and stuff, all the condolences, man.
Hell yeah. Well, now that we've gotten that out of the way, you know, if I know Piss Jug, I would say that he'd want us to get the hell on with it. So with that being said, we've got a lot of good shit to talk about with you, sir. So first of all, tell me about, I know you took this fight on short notice. You know, where was your head at going into this fight? You know, I know you took it on 2 weeks notice. Obviously, you've had a rough start. Where was your head at going into this fight? Was it just, I want to get back in there and show what I can do? Or was it something about him in particular that you liked, or why you wanted to step into this one?
Well, I mean, I was
It was short notice, but I was training. I've turned this since I've moved out here to a lifestyle, and it's not, out of the gym after a fight for an extended period of time. I was in the gym. I was helping my teammate Julian Marquez get ready for his fight, and I have other teammates like Rob Wilkinson, Cody Brundage, and Dustin Jacoby. They're all getting ready for fights, so I'm in there in the gym every day, getting to work with them. The only thing that I would say when it's quote unquote short notice is how has your boy been eating? And, I keep a pretty clean diet for the most part. I eat the same thing every day. Mentally, yeah, I was just ready to get back in there, dude. Like I made a mistake in my last fight. All props to him. I just wanted to get back in there so bad and show that I'm not going to say it was a fluke, but just show that I'm better than what the ending of that last fight. And yeah, I mean, the opportunity, it's seriously a funny story. My girl and I had plans to go to this wedding March 11th, that weekend of March 11th down in Florida. We've had the flights booked, the hotel booked, everything booked for over a year. And I knew when I saw Sedriques get matched up that the person that he was matched up again will not make it to the fight. I just guarantee he won't. He's known for juice, and he's known for his potato bag that they needed to get into the hotel. But I just had a feeling it wasn't going to go through. Sedriques and I were offered to fight for the FAC card for my Dana White looking for a fight. He turned it down. Obviously, he had a great opportunity for Dana White looking for a fight, so understandable. But he was always in my line of view, and I knew that we were going to fight eventually. And I told my girl, I was like, if this fight happens, I'm not going to that wedding. Like, I can't, because I'm going to be ready in case that call comes. And wouldn't you know it, they called me. And I was like, I knew it. Yeah, I mean, it was just a good opportunity, stylistically wise, and I would rather take a short notice fight anyway because it's less time to think. You just got to go and do the damn thing.
I've heard a lot of people talk about that kind of shift in mentality, I guess you can say, when you're like game planning so much and really putting all this emphasis into an opponent compared to when you're just building yourself up. And when, as long as, like you're saying, you're active in the gym and you have enough time to be able to make the weight and stuff work, and you're still able to do it cardio and stuff wise, the short notice thing sometimes works out a lot better for some of these guys.
Yeah, it does. It makes for an easy, like, hey, it's after school. We're just going out back. We're getting into a fight. Like, there is no build up. There is no worrying about it. And I like that a lot better.
I mean, that was the thing about the way that fight went off, because it even just kind of seemed like, even just in the very start of that fight, it seemed like he was kind of shocked by the fact that when you came out and you got that takedown, I don't think he really expected you to be able to, to push the pace like that. Because I feel like his whole game plan going into that, when I saw that matchup, I'm like, man, this dude's going to try to blast across the cage and want to try to, have some kind of highlight reel something, whether it's a knockout, a submission, or something. That's what I saw going into that fight. So I feel like when you got that takedown and, started doing your thing, landing your shots, and then getting that guillotine, were you surprised when you caught the submission, or was it something that you thought, your stand-up was the way to go?
No, I mean, like, I definitely felt comfortable in the stand-up exchanges with him. I wanted to kind of frustrate him, make him a little uncomfortable, because no one's really ever put him on his back in previous fights. So it's something that I wanted to do. And when I got the guillotine, yeah, I mean, that's a move that I do a lot in the gym. You can ask my teammates, like, as soon as someone braces to catch themselves after falling on the ground, that's the perfect opportunity to just go for the neck. And thank God I got it. I snuck that in there real quick, and it kind of shocked me for a second, because I was like, this is really in there. Holy shit. And I wasn't even squeezing. And then I was right next to my corner, and my coaches are yelling, like, push the hand, squeeze. And I did, and I didn't even have to squeeze long. He tapped. And I think it was a combination of it being like dead to rights, and also he was pretty gassed.
Yeah, I think it really both, like you say, that he knew he was in a position where, unless he severely fought the hands and essentially got lucky in a grip, you know, and was just able to pull down, he was probably done for anyways. And with the cardio being what it appeared to be, at least, yeah, if he would have went for that for too long, he was probably going out anyway. So the tap kind of seemed to make sense. But looking back, I had, of course, seen your fights all the way back through LFA and all that stuff. And that's something that I felt like you could definitely take advantage of going into this fight. And like you had said, I've just so happened to seen his fights going back to the Masvidal cards and stuff like that when he was fighting on those. And so I thought the same thing. I thought he had went in there.
That's where I knew him from. Son of a bitch.
And he was able to kind of style a lot of these guys and out athleticism a lot of guys, but he wasn't necessarily tested in that realm. And that was my first thought when that matchup came up, is I was like, man, if Fremd's able to control position on this guy and get him in those waters that are at least untested to the eye yet. I mean, of course, everybody can be working in the background, but what's unproven on the under the spotlight was that for sure, man. His wrestling was definitely tested, and you shown that was the clear way to get a win in this one.
Yeah. He never showed any wrestling, I guess, pedigree, prowess, defense, or anything like that. And though I still I genuinely feel I could have finished it in on the feet, path the easiest victory. Don't even give him a chance. You know, I needed that win more than anything, so I was win by the easiest way, best way possible.
Well, saying that brings up a question I had. Do you feel like with this matchup, do you kind of feel like it was one of those things where it was short notice and you were the guy to call, or do you feel like, you know, they wanted you to be a guy to kind of make him look good? Because sometimes it seems like when a guy has a rough start in the UFC, it almost seems like they'll throw him to some young killer that's coming in there, you know, and basically either that guy's going to redeem himself like you did, or, you know, get ate up by the, you know, the young buck.
Moment.
Because when I saw the matchup, it kind of almost seemed that way to me. I wondered if, you know, that felt it all that way to you.
No, 100%. I mean, I've watched this sport since I was a child, so I know exactly how the matchmaking works. I know exactly how they want to build people up. And you can look at it both ways. If I would have looked at it like, oh man, this is just a setup, they're just trying to use them for a building stone against me. If I went into it with that woe is me attitude, then that would have not have went well for me. I went in there with a chip on my shoulder, knowing that's exactly what they're trying to do. They're trying to build up this dude. He has all this hype behind him. For what reason, I'll never know. But
little do they know.
Little do they know. I mean, you think I'm taking this short notice, but like the great and powerful T.I. once said, stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. So that's what I do. I stay ready all the time. You know, that it is what it is.
What you know about that? But you know, I might have listened to a tip song or two, or maybe even been to a concert. Fucking dude, I'll never forget that shit as long as I live, because me and shout out to our boy D, but man, I'll never forget us going to that, and I'm the only white guy down the whole line, and they all stopped when I knew the fucking words of the song, and all just collectively looked at me like, what the fuck? You know, fucking A, we need the shit that makes me feel old. But go ahead, Corey.
Oh, so we kind of spoke about the matchup and stuff like that, but I want to talk about, like, what's this now that you've gotten that out of the way, right? You crossed off that win. What does the opportunity feel like, basically, going into the future of potential matchups and stuff like that? I mean, we're not even thinking opponents or anything like that, but what's it just feel like to finally get the monkey off your back, and now you have the ability to look at the potential of a bright future ahead?
Man, it's a weight relieved, and it honestly unlocks, just to be completely real with you, it unlocks a confidence that I didn't have going into the UFC. I don't know if you guys have ever read Forrest Griffin's book when he first burst on the scene. He has his own book. That was like the first book legitimately outside of a school playground that I've ever read, like, was Forrest Griffin's book. And it was after he got his first win in the UFC where he kind of told himself like, hey man, like I actually can do this. Like, yeah, I've been saying I can do it, but I can actually do this. I actually belong here with these people. And for the longest time, I kept saying like, oh, I belong. I need a seat at the table. I belong here. I've worked so hard. It's one thing to say it, but it's one thing to actually believe it deep down inside your chest. And that was kind of my motivation going into this fight. Like, I need to believe in myself more than just saying it. You know, I have all these people around me, coaches, teammates, family, you guys who are believing in me. Why am I not believing in myself? You know, so going out there, that was a big focus of emphasis. And after I did it, I kind of just like, I'm not gonna never not believe in myself again. You know, that's what kind of makes the future bright for me is in I know mentally shit's on lock now. I got all the physical gifts. I got all the athletic attributes, the IQ, anything I need. It was always this right here. Now that this is locked in, it's game over.
What do you think made the big difference? I know you said the book, but like, what do you think, you know, made you flip that switch?
So to be honest, it's going to sound counterintuitive, but there is another one I've read in our reading group is The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. And in my entire life, like anything outside of sports, anything outside of fighting, I'm so laid back. Like I truly don't give a fuck. Like anything can happen. I'm blue collar. I work on the pipeline. Hey, it is what it is. We just got to keep pushing. And I think when it came to fighting and it came to the UFC, I put so much allure in it, so much like, oh, I got to do this. And it was kind of like me caring too much, if that makes any sense. I would overthink things. I would just do a little too much. And I just got to the point where like, yeah, I care about this. This is something I've worked really hard for. But at the end of the day, it's a fight. The sun's going to come up tomorrow. My life's going to be the same. It doesn't matter if I get a bonus or not. I'm going to come home. I got a beautiful girl. I got 2 beautiful dogs. My life is good. I needed to stop putting so much pressure on myself. And that was kind of like the little flip of the switch there.
You could tell there was something, definitely a change in your game between that Tresean Gore fight and this most recent one. It seemed like you had definitely, I don't know if it was like you had mentioned moving out there and just continued development, or it seemed like a confidence thing. To be frank, it really did. It seemed like a confidence thing in that Tresean Gore fight. It seemed like there was moments where, I mean, of course, the choke at the end was what it was. That was he sunk that in, and it was kind of like what we were saying with this one. It was like you could have fought it, but either way, it was what it was. But I felt like.
But a little side note, I did fight it. Until I couldn't breathe anymore.
That's true.
I respect the fuck out of that because I have gone to sleep before in tournaments and shit myself. So fucking I respect that.
I definitely respected the shit out of it. You did fucking fight like hell. But in the moments before that, it seemed like you were a little too frantic in moments where I could tell in watching previous fights and stuff of yours, you've worked through positions like that and you've gotten through that type of stuff in harder spots, I felt like. And in that one, you just it felt like you were scrambling a little bit, like not the good type of scrambled. You were just like trying to go with it. In this most recent fight, it did not feel that way whatsoever. It felt like you really brought it in such a more mental way. I'm mumbling my words like crazy, but you really did seem like you, to Kyle's point, flipped a switch where it was really a mental thing. In this most recent one, you really brought a different version of yourself.
No, you're fumbling just a little bit, but I'm picking it up. I get what you're saying. It's honestly, that's super cool that you've seen it like that, because that's how I personally see it. So it's really cool to have an outsider's perspective that, what I'm seeing, I'm not just blindly seeing one thing. It's actually other people are noticing it as well. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely something that I'm going to continue to work on. This thing is ever evolving, and me being a psych and philosophy major in college, like the mind it's always something that needs to be worked on. It's always something that needs to be fixed, or, self-talk is super important. And for the longest time, I had the worst self-talk ever. And I'm fixing that every single day.
Yeah, I did not know that layer. That adds a whole nother layer.
That's
The psych
pretty cool.
major definitely adds a whole nother layer. But you hear it all the time from the top level athletes in this game, man. That's the real difference, is being able to turn all that noise down and just perform as if you were in the gym trying to just win the fight that's in front of you. And I felt like that's what we've seen.
Well, talking about
2
putting the
Saturdays ago.
fumbles together, bro. You know, you're talking about picking up fumbles. How you feeling about your Steelers, bro? How you feel about the Steelers next year, man? Because the
I'm
Lions
feeling
out
so
here,
hopeful.
they let go of
I don't
our
even want to
running
talk
back.
about the Lions right now because you stole Sutton from us.
Yep.
Ah,
Quite a few of my boys were getting at me
Hey,
about that one.
it's sad to say, but
know
this
who
is
we
the best
got?
we've looked in years already. It's not even damn. We haven't hit draft time
Just
yet.
let
This is
it
the best we've
happen,
looked in
damn it.
years.
No. Honestly, the Lions are going to be fun to watch this year. I'm excited for that.
Hey, yo.
Cody. I'm still not a golf
feel
guy
like-
though. I'm sorry. I might be one of the only people around here that just hates our quarterback.
No,
bro.
I'm a big golf guy.
I can't, dude. He's vanilla chicken to me. Unseasoned chicken. Anybody like unseasoned chicken? Not me. Guy has no flavor. That just is what it
I
is.
felt the same way when he came into town. He's grown on me since, though.
That's what I was
Okay.
going to say, dude. I'm in the same boat. Like, I feel like at first I was like, fuck that guy, especially because at first he wasn't doing so good. But once he started to really settle in and be able to come in and clutch spots, because you got to be honest, bro. Like, he definitely showed up in spots for us, or we wouldn't have got as far as we did.
I'll tell you what. I talked a lot of shit at the beginning of the season, but once we started winning towards the end, I kept my mouth shut. You know,
that's why I'm saying, man. Like, even if you don't like the guy, you got to call it what it is, bro.
Win. Just go out there and win, dude. You won't hear shit from me.
Winning solves everything, baby. So that's what
he
needs to do.
Absolutely.
I mean, with that being said, so what do you want to see next, man? Like, you know, you got your first win under your belt. What's next for you? How quick do you want to get back in the cage?
I would love to fight. You know, it's spring right now. I'd love to fight by the end of summer. That would be ideal. You know, sometime June, July, August. Yeah, I'm getting healed up. You know, I've just been taking a little bit of time off. It was a little bit of a rough weight cut this time around. So, you know, just letting the body heal, getting some snowboarding in, getting some hanging out with my girl and my dog time in. And then I'm back at the gym on Monday, and I'm going to help my teammates get ready for their fights. And hopefully I can get something booked here soon. If not, hey, I'm going to be ready. And if something pops up that interests me, or, you know, gets me a new contract, or gets me back to 500, let's get it.
Oh, yeah. I like it. That's kind of was going to be my question off of that. Was you mentioned it earlier that you kind of preferred the short notice thing. Are we hoping that that's the route again this time around?
I mean, I hope that would be ideal, you know, just keep my ear to the ground, because honestly, I like that better, just because you don't have that entire build up. And then if someone does fall out, like in Sedriques' case, like he had a full 8 weeks to prepare for this dude. Dude popped off 2 weeks before. Now he has to come. So it's technically a short notice fight for him as well. So, I mean, you're not always guaranteed to make it to fight week. It's a rough sport. So I like the short notice better, because that way I know, like, all right, there's a 99% chance this dude's making it.
Yeah, he's making it. I know as long as you're prepared enough that you know that the likelihood of you dealing with an injury or something in camp because of the shortness of it's a lot less. Everything involved. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, in that case, it's just kind of one of those things on just how much damage you take. I mean, if you can get in and get out, short notice isn't such a bad thing, because then you don't really, like you said, have to get ready again. You know, I mean, it's just a case by case basis. Because I mean, some guys, man, you'll see them just boom, 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 taking fights like that. Like, think about like a Cowboy, you know, and then as he got later in his career, you know, he tried to do that, and your body just can't keep up with it because he had taken so much damage from doing that. You know what I mean? So when you can get in there and get in and get out and get a dub like you did this time, I mean, why the hell not? I mean, 2 checks is great. Keep getting 2 checks over and over again. We're looking all right. Plus, you got the submission out of it. I mean, that's I mean, that's all you can ask for.
Yeah, I mean, stay healthy. Love my 2 checks. Would have loved a 3rd check. That would have been great. But maybe next time. Yeah, just keep rolling. Fun fact, I also did get to meet Cowboy this weekend. It was kind of cool. I was in the PI getting a massage, getting worked on, and a dude comes in screaming, and I knew immediately who it was. You can't, mistake who Cowboy Cerrone is. So that was pretty dope.
Yeah,
That's
dude,
cool.
he's a cool dude. That's why I've told everybody, like, the hardest fight in my life for me to watch was my good buddy Miles Jury fighting Donald Cerrone, because I've known Miles since I was probably 13, 14, training with him and stuff like that. And then when they fought, I'm like, fuck, I like Cowboy, but obviously you got to ride with the homie.
And then,
right. And then when Cowboy's getting all pissed, like, yeah, fuck him, I don't like this guy. I'm like, well, damn, dude, this sucks. You know what I mean?
Man, that's my boy. Give him a chance.
It's like,
He's
shit, dude.
right.
You know, that sucked when we interviewed Booker T. He was pissed because he didn't know the whole backstory about the whole thing with Diego and shit, right? So when we interviewed him, he said the same thing as Cowboy because he was pissed for the same reason Cowboy was. I'm like, well, damn, y'all don't really know what's good with it. But I mean, that's a story for another time. But speaking of the other fights, bro, obviously it's been a few days out now. What are your thoughts on Leon Edwards and Kamaru last weekend?
Man, that was a tough one. You're going over to London, you're in his hometown, and that old adage, you got to beat the champion to be the champion, and you're not going to squeak out a split decision, a unanimous decision in London for a hometown fighter. Kamaru would have had to have finished him for him to win that fight.
Go ahead, Corey.
I felt like he wasn't able to get his pressure going like he was in the
Not at
last
all.
fight. He just wasn't able to turn that. He wasn't able to get the Kamaru Usman game flowing downhill where he's just kind of rolling on somebody and just a never-ending presence. I felt like that wasn't what we've seen out of him this last Saturday. It was weird. I don't know if it was a game plan thing to try to play range and just be smarter out there and watch. Be a little more aware of potential danger, but it was unfortunate, man. I'm a Kamaru Usman fan. I like Leon Edwards a lot. He put on a very good striking fight. I liked a lot of the shots he was able to do with the body kicks and stuff like that. But it just sucked seeing what I feel like maybe Kamaru Usman starting to tread towards the later half of the back nine. He's at the back nine of his golf game.
I'll tell you, I didn't expect Edwards to get back when he had him up against the cage and he kept putting him down on his ass. I didn't expect him to keep popping back up, dude.
Well, and that was the biggest thing that stuck out to me was the fact that Kamaru tried to go back kind of like to what we saw him do prior to getting with like Trevor Whitman, and where he had done a lot of wrestling and things like that. And I feel like he tried to do that against Leon Edwards because to be honest with you, if we're just basing it off of what both of them did, I honestly kind of felt like Leon still did enough to win the fight just based on the decisions anyway. The only thing that was weird to me is I don't know how the fuck he lost a point and then they still had it 9-8 for Leon. The first judge did. I'm like, how the fuck did that work? Making a cameo.
What's y'all doing?
What up, though?
Not enough attention. He's not getting enough attention.
Oh, that's like our Willow.
Yeah, I got 3 of them. I know the feeling, man. What is it? A German Shepherd?
Yeah, Sable German Shepherd.
I got half Australian, half German myself. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, my sister's got one at the house too. We got a golden retriever. We got 2 of them here too, dude, man. So it's a fucking zoo over here. But yeah, like I said, man, I think it was a good fight. I think Kamaru knew that Leon did enough to win that fight because you didn't really see him protest it like that. What do you think about Colby being next, man? Because I can't lie to you. My first thought was, man, they fucked Bilal again.
Yeah.
I mean, dude,
that's 100%. Dude, they sent Bilal in there to what they thought was going to be Sean Brady's just another stepping stone, and he put it to him. After that performance right there, I immediately thought he should get a shot at the title. I'm not saying he's going to win
And to
it,
finish him.
And to finish him was absolutely amazing. I think he
and I like Sean Brady. I'm not shitting on Sean Brady, but like, I mean, no disrespect to Bilal, but like,
exactly,
you know,
all respect to both parties. Everyone knew what it was. Bilal did an amazing job, and honestly, I was like, he deserves the next shot. Politically, yes, he deserves it. But if we talk business-wise, what's really going to sell more? Colby talking a massive amount of shit, or Bilal being funny, but just doesn't have that sting factor that, you know, everyone wants to hate Colby. No one wants to hate Bilal. They think he's funny, he's a nice guy, but what's going to sell more is massive amount of people tuning in to see Colby get his ass beat.
Pro Wrestling 101.
Pro Wrestling 101.
Gotta have a good guy, gotta have a bad guy.
But this is a thought I had too, and it's funny you say that because you literally almost took the words out of my mouth. Not about the pro wrestling part, but about, here's the thing though. It's a weird parallel that both Kamaru and Colby are at if you think about it. Because now Kamaru has lost twice to the sitting champion. He's going to have a tough time regardless of what number is next to his name now after that fight, because now you've lost to the champion twice. You basically have no choice but to have to go back through a line full of killers to be able to get back to a title shot. I mean, he's maybe not going to have to fight as many as some people, but he's going to at least have to string a few wins together against the top of the division to be able to do so. Colby is at a weird parallel too, because I think if he loses this fight here to Leon Edwards, if this is the fight that ends up happening, you know, you lost twice to Kamaru, you lost to Leon now. Even if the UFC wants him to be the next contender for somebody, it's going to be awful hard to put Colby back there. So then he's going to be in the same boat in a way, Kamaru, even if they're at the weight.
You see, Kamaru's already in the position that Colby was at.
Yep.
And Colby just had to go get one win, and now that Usman isn't the champion, he's back in there. Now, say some crazy thing happens and Colby beats Leon. Kamaru's right back in the picture.
Yeah.
If he gets a win.
That was my exact thought.
Those wins age even better.
Yeah.
What's next? Who's he fight next?
I don't know.
What if Kamaru fights Bilal next?
Apparently you make Bilal Muhammad fight Shavkat and then also make him fight Kamaru.
Oh, that's right. They did say that.
No, if he beats Shavkat.
That's right. I forgot they said Shavkat.
I completely agree with you. I'm on that side. I feel like it should be Bilal based on merit.
Yeah,
I agree also with the whole sales side. So kind of it is what it is type of tactic. But I don't know. I'm a fan of
Shavkat. Fuck it.
Big time. Big time.
Dude, if he beats him, it was already like that, right? It was, if he beats so and so, if he beats Wonder Boy, if he beats
like that.
I'm with you.
Yeah, and so I don't know, man. I feel like the whole Leon Edwards backstory with them having already fought, but it looking like it was going Leon's way, and then the eye poke ending it unceremoniously. I don't know, man. I feel like it's going to make it that much harder for Bilal to get matched up in that fight, unfortunately, as a fan of Bilal.
I'm going to assume, though, when they do make that fight that he would be the stand-in if something were to happen, right? You would have to think.
You would think at this point, because you can't have Kamaru automatically be right back in it. So, I mean.
Well, then it also depends what happens with Masvidal and Burns.
Yeah. I think, especially with the champ saying he wants that one back against Masvidal, even though they never officially fought, but he wants that one back.
What if Masvidal pulls up that upset of the century and beats Gilbert Burns? Like, then you're like, oh wait, there's a guy who could fight for a title because that'll sell.
Yeah.
For sure. And what's wild is that would still make him 1-3 in his last 4.
I've heard so many people talking about it, but I am.
Dude, I'm not. Hey, I like Masvidal, but I'm just saying that's fucking wild to think that if you get one win and you're at 1-3, fuck it, world title shot. That's
He's a
pro
new
wrestling
guy.
logic, dude.
It's a business, baby. It's a.
I'm with
business.
you.
It's
I get
becoming a
it,
business
and I'm
so
not
much.
mad at him either.
How's that? How does that feel as an athlete participated in said business, though, to know that it's not always merit based? Sometimes it is popularity based, and sometimes you got to do what you got to do to make that popularity stand out.
So when you get to that level, I saw a really crazy thing today where it was like the revenue share of the UFC to us athletes is like 17%, right?
Yeah.
15% of that 17% only goes to the top 10% of the UFC athletes. So say 500 athletes, there's 50 athletes making boatloads of money that everyone should be making, whatever, NFL money, whatever. But there's only that many people making it. When you get to the point of Colby, Kamaru, or Leon, or even Bilal now, like, I don't even care. I'm getting paid to fight. This is my life. Yeah, the championship would be nice, but like, if you sell, you sell. If you get a part of pay-per-view buys, doesn't matter.
It's an interesting outlook on it, and I often wonder that with a lot of the athletes, because like you say, it is kind of like a work your way to the top, and then I've made it and plant my flag. Now I finally made life-changing money and stuff like that, but it is such a grind up to that level, and it's interesting to see some of the characters that get made out of some of these athletes to be able to, accelerate their rise towards the top.
Well, with that being said, man, that's the crazy part about being a fighter, dude. But speaking about the crazy parts about being a fighter, I know you've got to have something to say about that Gaethje Fiziev fight. What the fuck? That shit was badass. What do you think? And what do you think about Gaethje's performance and what's next for him?
That was all world violence right there, and that was just amazing to see, because Gaethje, though he looks like a brawler, is so methodical and so just footwork wise, combinations, head movement, is just an absolute savage. I was a fan. I was just staring at my TV. I didn't even sip on my beer. I was so focused, tuned in, like just absolute. That could have been the main event, and I'd have been happy with it.
That was one of those fights you don't blink, because it could be over, dude. It could be over just like that. Blink. We deserved more, honestly. I hope they run it back. I hope they run it back in a main event, 5-round fight, dude. Give us that, please.
Yeah, 5 rounds would have been crazy.
That's what
Fiziev doesn't lose in that fight either. That's the thing. Even though he lost on his record, like that fight still does a lot for him too, because he was fighting way up and fighting Gaethje. So I feel like he's gonna learn a lot from that
for the most part.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
honestly,
not like, I mean,
you really had there was a real argument. I know me and Kyle were watching it together, and at the end of the fight, I was like, it really depends on how they scored that second. I thought Gaethje won the second, but it was such a close round that you really could have went either direction. And if you would have went Fiziev, I wouldn't have batted an eye at it. I would have not been surprised at all when they raised his hand and said that he won. So for Gaethje to pull it out the way he did, and especially kind of take over in the third round, is incredibly impressive, man.
I don't know. We're gonna have to see where it goes. I'd like to see him get another. He said he wants to make one more run at the title. Said he's not going to be around much longer. I hope he can get back to a title. The only thing that's going to be tough with that is it's another Dagestani guy. I mean, let's go, dude. That was the problem with the Khabib fight. Although Khabib ended up pulling out a triangle. I mean, like I said, it's gonna be a tough road to the title for him. But I mean, Justin Gaethje can take my fucking money for a pay-per-view any day and twice on Sunday. I'm just saying, like, I may not like to buy pay-per-views, but if Justin Gaethje's on there, I will gladly give a little bit of money. And that being said, I mean, that's a question for you. What do you think about, something I heard a lot of people talking about before this fight is that you know, some guys, if they see a guy like Gaethje being on the card, like, fuck that, I don't want to fight on that card because the bonuses are already gone.
They're already
Because
spoken for, yeah.
right.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah, I never thought of it that way, but yeah, damn, you're right.
I mean, I heard somebody say that and it made me stop and think, and it was just like, you know, if somebody did that, I guess, couldn't be mad at him because, you know, 9 times out of 10, I mean, that motherfucker has literally gotten a bonus in every fight, win or lose. And if not one, he's getting multiple of them. So it's like, you know, I mean, if you really were thinking that way, I mean, I would imagine in your case, I don't give a shit. I'm fighting whenever, whoever. But like, it was a funny thought when you think about it that way, because that dude.
Oh man, no, that's definitely understandable, because that bonus is like, I mean, now I guess in the point in the lower levels of the UFC, that is life-changing money. Mm-hmm. Like when you get it a couple times and you're smart with it, it's not gonna make or break you. But like right now, as a low-level UFC guy, like, yeah, that's life-changing money right there.
Yeah, say you cleared 35, 40 of that after paying everybody in taxes and shit. I mean, like that's enough to get you a brand new car that you can live off of.
Some motherfuckers make in a year, dude.
That's what I'm saying. That's a drastic money. We're people from the States talking like that. Now imagine some of these people that live out in Brazil or something like that, where the cost of living is significantly lesser, and that 50 grand, that bring home a 30 something, that's all of a sudden your life is different. Yeah, your life is totally different.
Hell yeah, dude. I'm loving that at least we're finally getting to see some of these good fights that are coming up. I mean, with that being said, I mean, I know you're watching all the fights. I know that you're always commenting on some of the fights. You know, tell me a little bit about that. Weren't you doing commentary recently?
Yeah, I do commentary for this local promotion here in Denver. It's called Colorado Combat Club. My buddy Jordan Kurtz, comments from the Peanut Gallery, got me and my teammate Cody Brundage involved, kind of getting myself on the mic, you know, just, you know, there's always ways to make money. You know, it doesn't always have to be beating people up. So let me get good at other ways of making money, you know, for when this is done.
Yeah, absolutely. And being in front of the mic and being able to actually talk about the sport that you know pretty well, you know, that's a great way to do it.
Let me ask you that. I've been getting to do that myself. Like I've been calling the fights for Lights Out, which stay tuned. There's another one coming in April. But with that being said, you know, what was the hardest part for you? Because I mean, having trained jiu-jitsu and stuff, and obviously not fighting nearly at the level like you, but it's like you think going into it, like, okay, I've been around this shit for a long time, so like it should be.
I know how to call
easy.
a right and a left hand.
But dude, when I sat down and did it, like, I mean, my first chance of doing commentary was doing college wrestling, and I had never done it before, and I called 50 matches the first time we did it because it was a tournament. So then by the time I got to doing fights, I felt a little bit more comfortable, but still, even if you've been around fights forever, it's totally a different thing because you just see things when you're watching it that close that you don't see when you're watching at home. And then just like the vibe of the arena can change things. And then hearing the people in your ear about doing, you know, the commercials or the sponsorship drops or whatever the case, you know what I mean? Or, you know, maybe the show doesn't start on time. What, in your experience doing it, what was the biggest thing for you to get used to?
Honestly, dude, what I needed to work on was having too much fun. I'm like sitting cage side at the fights. I'm with my boys. I get to watch fights. I get to talk about fighting. I had to like correct my extenuous vocabulary, if you will. Had to work on my cussing. Like if something crazy
sounds like somebody else we know.
Oh fuck! You knocked me the fuck
out. Yeah, man. Just having too good of a time, honestly. Like I wanted to work on sounding more professional. So I guess that would be for me.
Yeah, I try my best, and I still mumble my words every episode. So we can all try, though, right?
Well, dude, like the thing for me is like doing this where it's like pretty much free reign and do whatever. You know, like for me, it was like trying to find the balance of having your personality and having like, you know, being able to put, you know, like your spin on it while still being able to adequately call what you're watching. You know what I mean? Still be able to call the action of what's going on in the cage while being able to, you know, make it entertaining. Like, wouldn't you know it, for me, out of all the shit, which you can go back and watch it on Spectation Sports. With that being said, that of all the clips they could have got, fucking A, dude. So first of all, with us being a wrestling podcast, it was pretty funny because the guy came out to Somebody's Gonna Get Their Ass Kicked by Mark Henry song, so that was pretty dope. But then said guy ended up getting hit with a pretty gnarly nut shot, and of all of it, they cut it right when I'm like, ooh, nut shot. And then they even put the shit in like capital letters. I'm like, really? We called 12 fucking fights, and that's we called 12 fucking fights, and that's what we ended up with. So that's the funniest shit, is some of the stuff you end up saying that you don't even remember saying, and then of course that's that's the stuff that they catch. Well, dude, we've kept you for quite a while. I gotta, you know, we talked a little bit about the wrestling side, man. You know, we got WrestleMania coming next fucking weekend. Are you checking it out at all? Have you seen anything that's going on with that shit? It's gonna be nuts. I'm getting ready to head down to LA. Hopefully I don't end up in jail.
That's a hard place not to end up in jail. But yeah, no, I haven't been keeping my own in it too much. But I definitely will be checking it out. I was so focused on the World Baseball Classic recently, so
I'm watching it right now. I didn't want to right now. Hoping US can come back, man. I was kind of annoyed we just left 2 on, but is what it is.
I'm ready for some fucking baseball back for sure. I can definitely,
yes, sir.
I can definitely respect that. Well, dude, we're going to definitely have to do this again soon. Any of you guys who are new here and haven't done so, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Josh, let them know where to find you. Tell them about comments from the Peanut Gallery, all that stuff before you get out of here.
Yeah, you just can follow me at Josh Fremd MMA on Instagram. You can check us out every Wednesday from 6 to 7 Mountain Standard Time on Mahi Radio. Comments in the Peanut Gallery, Jordan Kurtz and myself. Always talking about the upcoming fights. And huge shout out to you boys for having me on here.
Hell yeah. Appreciate you, sir. And with that being said, if you guys ain't already done so, I know y'all are all mailing out your fucking taxes because I got to sling the mail for my day job. So if you haven't already done so, make sure you check out our other sponsor, G3 Payroll and Tax, and tell them Knockouts and 3 Counts sent you. It worked out pretty good for me, man. I made more money this year on my taxes. So with that being said, until next time and in the in-between time, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Peace.